Hi guys, Mrs. Novello here, and I'm going to show you how to sew together your embroidered skull. So now that we're finished with our designs and they look fabulous, you need to select a second piece of felt. It can be non-matching, that's a thing. You need a piece of ribbon that matches your contrasting embroidery floss. So I chose red. I thought it would stand out against the beige, so I got a red ribbon to kind of tie that in. So what you're going to do first is you're going to stack your two pieces of felt together, and you're going to staple the tops together. Just one simple staple, no big deal. Now I'm going to mark with a Sharpie where you're going to begin and end your running stitch. I'm going to begin here. I'm going to sew around counterclockwise, and I'm going to stop right here. I'm not going to tie off or disconnect. I'm just going to pause my sewing, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the running stitch to sew these two pieces together following the skull outline on your pattern. So once again, you're sewing through not just one layer of fabric, but two, and your tissue paper. You're going to do stitches that are 1/4 of an inch apart with 1/8 of an inch space in between, and you will carefully follow the entire outline all the way to this stopping point. Okay, now that I've stitched everything together, that's when I need to leave my needle up front. I'm not tying it off or anything like that. So what I want to do right now is I want to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around my stitches, leaving about 1/4 of an inch of fabric. I want to be sure that I don't cut off my thread, so that's why I'm tying it off around the front. So just going to take scissors. I'm not cutting too close to the stitches, but I want a consistent 1/4 inch all the way around, even the top. And remember, we haven't sewn the top shut. We stopped at both the Sharpie points. Okay, so once we cut that off, then we're going to use this felt that we just cut off as the stuffing. And I may want to cut it into little smaller pieces so that it stuffs a little bit easier, but this is going to be the stuffing, right? So you may need a pencil, but you will separate these and you'll just stuff the stuffing in. You don't want it too full, otherwise it's going to be tricky to sew shut. You can just use your finger to stuff that in. I didn't use all of it. Actually, I am going to use all of it. And then what we're going to do, make sure all that's tucked in, is you're going to take your ribbon, you're going to fold it in half in a loop like this, and then you're going to insert that loop about 1 inch in. Make sure it's centered, pinch this, and then you're going to continue to sew the shut. Great, and now that I'm done sewing it, I can just tie a knot in the back, cut my thread loose, and then it's time to remove the tissue paper from the front. You'll start off by tearing it, and then once you get to the tissue paper that's underneath your designs, you're going to use your needle to push out the tissue paper from underneath the thread that's stuck. So if you have a little piece that's stuck like this, you can just use your needle to push it out. And then you're done.